Hello dudes and dudesses, and welcome to this video about iron farms. Iron farms all the way. I very often, almost daily, get asked, what are your best iron farm? As you probably know if you follow this channel, I have built quite a few in my time. This is one of my iron testing worlds, and you can see there's quite a few different iron farms out there, but which one are the best? That's what people want to know. And today I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go through all the different, well, maybe not all, but a lot of the different iron farms I have made, and I will answer the question once and for all, so stay tuned. Let's start off by defining what is an iron farm. This is my 16-pot iron farm that Shulkercraft had in its competition, and that probably many of you know that I have designed. It's portal based, it's got the golems sent off to the nether, and it has an inbuilt chunk loader that sends all the iron ingots back to the overworld. But this is also an iron farm. It has no portals, it doesn't even have a zombie to scare the villagers, and yet this is also an iron farm. So which one is best? Not so easy to answer, because as I always say, you have to account for how much iron do you need. Are you in early game or late game? Are you on a server, on a single player? How is the rates, the yield versus the effort to build the farm, and so on and so on. And you're already probably sensing a theme here that there is no one correct answer, because it depends on a lot of things, mostly and mainly on your needs. For the purpose of this video, I have just designed a new small iron farm for you guys, so I can show you the basic of the mechanics. If we start by going up here, you can see there's actually only one spawning space in this farm. Yes, you can build an iron farm with only one spawning space. These villagers, there are 3 of them in here, if you can see it, will try to call an iron golem, spawn an iron golem every 30 seconds, and they will try 10 times. So there's a good chance that they will hit this one small space right here, even though they try to spawn the golems in an 8 by 8 by 8 by 8 area, 8 up and 8 down from their feet. So one small block, that's all you need basically. Of course, it won't be as efficient as if you have a larger spawning platform, but it will work. So that's basically how bare bone you can make an iron farm. We have a zombie. He's standing 1 block below the beds of the villagers, and he's standing on soul sand with water, so he's bobbing up and down, which means that he crosses this carpet right here, and every time he bobs up and down, he breaks the line of sight. So you can see night is coming, perfect. You can see the villagers are actually sleeping, but they do get scared and get up again. So they get scared at night, which means the farm works at night. And in daytime, of course, they have direct line of sight every time he's over this one, so it will work in daytime as well. Now, this farm that I just threw together isn't perfect. There is a chance that this guy will actually be able to hit the villagers. And that's precisely why in my latest official small iron farm, the one called Guaranteed to Work on Service, I moved that bed 1 back, and I put slabs on all 3, in front of all 3 beds, so the zombie cannot get to the villagers. But just for the purpose of showing the basics, this is as bare bone as it gets. I have designed farms without soul sand. One where the setup was like this, or the zombie was standing on a fence post, and it works. It has the drawback though that if you put this in a spawn chunk, it won't work. Even though the spawn chunks are active all the time, it needs the player to be nearby, so the zombie will get aggro on the villagers And if you're not nearby, the farm just stops until you get back. As you can see, I raised this farm 8 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on the 8th block, I put the beds that the villagers are standing on. And as I said earlier, it's because they're able to spawn in golems 8 blocks up from their feet and 8 blocks down. So if you have it lower than this, there's a chance they will spawn the iron golem here on the ground, and if it does, the farm will stop. There needs to be no iron golem 18 blocks in all directions. Now you can place these farms or farms similar to this closer, as you can see I have here, and they will still work because the iron golem dies and disappears. But if there's an iron golem that spawns down here and stays here because he wants to protect these villagers, the farm will simply stop. This farm works with scare because the villagers, 3 of them, are getting scared by this zombie. You can actually make an iron farm that doesn't work with scare but with the gossip. This farm has 5 villagers in there, and what they do is they gossip. Instead of being scared, they just gossip among themselves and decide, hey, we're 5 and we don't have an iron golem. So they decide to call an iron golem, which spawns up here and dies. This farm, however, does only work in daytime because at night, well, unless they're talking in their sleep, they are not able to gossip. And it doesn't help to wake them up because it's specific time of day they share gossip. And this farm, of course, isn't as efficient as one with scare. But for a lot of players in single player world, this one that is so easy to make and requires very few resources is enough. And here we are in my 118 survival let's play world, and I just want to show you that right over here I have the iron tower, the exact same farm that I showed you before. I love small iron farms because you can fit them into builds that you have in your world. It's not floating somewhere over there and breaking the immersion into the world. And as you can see down here on this level, I have the beat ups box. You can find this on my channel as well. It lets you AFK, skip the night, because this farm only works in daytime. Up there's 5 villagers with beds, and in here is the storage. And if we go up here, I can show you that this farm is doing quite all right. Thank you very much. And let me just use this opportunity to make a totally shameless plug-in for my Let's Play Survival series, the 118 series, because I need to play in survival. I need to play early game and late game in order to get the ideas and try out and test the farms that I designed for you. So if you want to support the channel, go check out the series. It's fun. But what if you want more iron than these 2 small setups can produce? Well, there's a whole range of options that you can use actually. One way to do it is to place a whole lot of these besides each other, like towers in a city wall. But that of course requires a zombie for each cell. And what if you want to do it another way? Well, then we're going into the more heavy farms, and I started off with standing on this farm, the 16-pot iron farm. And the way it works, as you can see, there's a iron golem right there, is that you have a zombie sharing 2 villager cells. These villagers right here and these villagers right here get scared by the same zombie. So in that sense, this is more economic, or it's less work because you only have to bring in 1 zombie for 2 cells. And the way the iron golem spawns is in here, and they're moved away by the water into the portal and transported to the nether. We have already covered the basics of what makes an iron farm tick, so to speak, but as I said earlier, these villagers below me are able to call an iron golem every 30 seconds. But they always make a perimeter check, 18 blocks in all directions. And if there already is an iron golem, they will just say, meh. We have to transport the iron golems away as fast as possible if we want to have the farm to be more efficient. So that's the idea behind the portal. It removes the iron golems very fast, as you can see. Now the amount of iron that this setup produces is clearly more than the other two farms that we have already talked about, but this has 16 cells, which means it has 16 by 3, which is 48, I think, villagers involved in making iron. If you're very interested in raids and very interested in which one is the fastest iron farm, I have a tip for you. You have to look at how fast one pot produces iron. You have to compare this one part with the one part in the, for instance, in the two iron farms we have already talked about. Of course, I mean, you can always build more layers, you can always build more pots, and it will be faster. But is it faster? Is it really faster? Or is it just a lot of them? Because I could build 16 towers and I would get closer to the results of this farm. I wouldn't be as fast as this farm, but I would get closer. So you have to compare basically the amount of villagers involved in a farm when you want to compare two iron farms. If we make a quick side-by-side comparison, you can see that this farm is getting rid of the iron golems much faster than where the iron golems have to burn up in lava. It can be as much as 10 to 13 seconds, and that is a real difference in speed per pot between these two farms. So as I said, the villagers will try and call an iron golem about every 30 seconds, but if they are already a golem in there, they will delay that attempt. And if the iron golem is still in the other farm, even though it's burning, and it can be there like 12-13 seconds later, the time that it will take between each spawn will simply be longer. And that is why we in some farms use portals. Now this is clearly a farm that I would recommend if you're on a big server and you need a lot of iron, and basically you build a community iron farm. But for single player, for most people, I mean, you can build it because you think it's fun. But if we're talking iron needs, maybe it's a bit overkill. This is another farm. It's called the Iron Dwarf Ii because, well, there's been one before, that I would recommend for servers and also for single players that needs quite a lot of iron, I would say. But this is a portal-based farm. As you can see, it works slightly different. We have the 4 villager pots. They're not placed in the corners, they're placed right here. And that's because in this farm we use a pillager. And a zombie, a tusk, or a drowned can scare villagers 8 blocks away. A pillager, on the other hand, can scare villagers 15 blocks away. So we only need 1 pillager to make this setup right here. The way it works is, as you can see, the pillager is able to make eye contact over and under this slab right here. So it works day and night, as we talked about in the beginning. And this farm is very, very, I love it. It's very aesthetical pleasing, I think. It's very compact, and it has the added life quality of bringing the iron back from the nether by itself. It works as a chunk loader as well. However, there is a difference. This farm is not an active chunk loader all the time. You will have to be here and load it because it's only a quality of life thing that it brings the iron ingots back. There won't be an iron golem going through this portal every 15 seconds. So at one point it might stop. The 16 pot iron farm is a chunk loader in its own right, which means that you don't have to place it at spawn to keep it going all the time. You can place it anywhere and move around in your world and it will still be working. But I have noticed from the comments and on Discord and so on that a lot of you guys, let's say, you don't really like portals, or you may have problems setting this up because you have to be quite specific when you set up the portals. So if you want a bigger and still compact iron farm with, let's say, 4 cells, what do you do then? That's what I designed this farm for. As you can see, the iron golems are going up. They're pushed up by water columns, and 18 blocks away from the villager cells down there. I usually am prone to using my standard villager pod. As you can see, this setup is also quite compact, and I like that. And there's 4 cells around here, and the iron golems spawn in here, and there's air at their feet so they can spawn, but they get grabbed by water columns and they go up, and they're transported 18 blocks away. And this is a very, very efficient iron farm, he said, and opened a lot of empty chests. But it is basically very close to being as efficient as the portal-based iron farms. Oh, that's a beautiful sight. There's nothing quite like the smell of burnt iron golem in the morning. This farm was re-inspired, if you can say it like that, by Tankotech's farm in Hermitcraft Season 8. I built a farm before that carried the golems up, but he built one in Season 8. It's much more advanced, pushing the villagers up and down as well, but I like it simple. So this farm is a very good alternative for those who don't like to mess with portals, and it's compact, so you can make a building around it. As long as we're in this world, I can actually demonstrate what I talked about earlier about the villagers having an 18 block range in which they detect whether there's an iron golem, because in this farm right here we have an iron golem that is pushed up by a bubble column, and now he's in range of all the villager pods, which means that he's actually an on-off button. Those were already there. The next time they try to spawn in iron golems, they will detect that this guy is in range and they won't spawn any. But one thing is efficiency and ease of build and all that kind of stuff. But when you have built a lot of iron farms like I have, and when you have played Minecraft for a lot of years like I have, then sometimes you just want to make fun iron farms. And this is one of those farms that it's not that efficient. I don't really care about efficiency as such, as long as it produces iron enough. It's just fun because I have, as you can see here, a drowned, and he scares the villagers up here. And because there's a hopper clock down here, in a while he will be released, the soul sand will be taken away, and he will slowly descend down here. And I haven't looked at this for a while, but if the timing is correct, then he will scare the villagers down here as well. The timing, of course, being more than 30 seconds since they spawned the last one. Let's just see what happens. And there we have one. Nice. As you can see, this farm kind of looks the same, but it does actually work quite different. And because we're in a flat testing world, so this level here is lower, we also got glow squid in it. We wouldn't have in a normal world. But this basically is a spawner. It's a zombie spawner. As you can see, it works like any zombie spawner. And we drop the zombies down here, where they get slowly converted into drowns. And then they get pushed up here, all the way up here, and then they sit here and get converted into drowns if they haven't yet. And in a second you will see we have a hopper clock here as well, and it will retract and it will leave them there where they can actually have eye contact with the villagers, and voila, they will produce iron. If we AFK here, we would actually get XP while grinding out some iron. And in 1.17, of course, it was more difficult to get copper, so that part of it, having them being drowned, was a bit more interesting than it is in 1.18. The last iron farm is a crazy one. It's one of my crazy concepts, and it utilizes quite a different approach to making iron. As you can see, we have a layer down here, and we have a zombie. That's just as it is with a lot of the other farms. But we have a lot of villagers right here being pushed around in a water stream. 28 if I recall correctly. And the idea behind this is that As I said before, the villagers, if they're within 10 blocks range, they will be able to communicate and be one group. But there's a lot of villagers in this that is out of range of each other all the time, which means that there are always approximately 3 groups not talking to each other, which means that even though it looks like there are 4 pods, this setup right here actually works like a iron farm with 3 pods. They will be able to produce theoretically 3 iron golems at the same time, and that's quite efficient. Another fun thing about this farm is, if you can see up here I haven't put in an iron golem, and of course this farm also works with gossip. So this farm is a gossip farm, this farm is a scare farm, and it's quite easy to see if you observe it for some time that this farm is quite a bit faster than the farm up here. Another fun thing, I've never got this confirmed because no one has ever built it, I think, in Bedrock, but I believe that if you use this setup right here and you put in workstations, because that is, as I understand it, a requirement in Bedrock, then this farm should theoretically also work in Bedrock, but I haven't seen anyone build it in Bedrock so far. That's another kind of fun thing that you can do if you want to experiment, and I really urge you to do that. Experiment with iron farms yourself. Alright dudes and dudeesses, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please remember to leave a like, it helps the channel, and we want to grow. We want to grow this channel to 1 million this year. Well, or something. So any likes that you can put on the channel, it will help. And if you're brand new, subscribe, hit that belly button to get notifications so you can see other of my videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.